Hello, amazing English learners, and welcome back to English in Advance. I'm your host, Jennifer, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be with you today. We're diving into a topic that I know is close to many of your hearts, a topic that can truly transform your communication and open up a world of possibilities. How to speak in English with confidence. You know, confidence in speaking English isn't just about knowing grammar rules or having a lot of words, though those are certainly important parts. True confidence, the kind that lets your personality shine through, comes from a good mindset, steady practice, and the right methods that feel natural to you. Today, we're going to really look at how you can build that strong confidence, focusing very closely on being clear, making your speech flow naturally, and really using native ways of speaking. Because let's be honest, we all want to sound like ourselves, don't we? Just, well, in English. Before we even begin to talk about how to speak, let's really talk about how you think. This is the strong base on which all your progress will be built, the ground from which your confidence will grow. The biggest problem, the one I hear about most often for speaking confidently, is almost always the fear of making mistakes. We constantly worry about sounding silly, about saying a word wrong, or about someone judging our accent, or the words we choose. But here's the real truth, something I want you to remember now. Everyone makes mistakes. Yes, even native speakers get words mixed up or make a small grammar error. It's not just a natural part of learning a language, it's a natural part of speaking any language. Think of these times not as failures, but as helpful steps. Each mistake isn't something to be embarrassed about, it's a great chance to learn and get better. When you bravely choose to change how you see errors, when you decide they are your teachers instead of your judges, you suddenly feel free. You're free to try new phrases, to try different ways of putting sentences together, and to truly say what you mean without always stopping yourself. Imagine how much easier you'll feel. A great way to start changing this idea is to try this. Record yourself speaking even for just 30 seconds. Don't listen to find fault, but instead, listen carefully to find just one small thing you can make better. Perhaps it's a tricky th sound, or maybe it's making sure your voice goes down at the end of a sentence. Then, the next time you speak, try to focus just on that one thing. You'll be very surprised at how quickly you start to improve. And as you let go of that fear, you also need to change your focus from being perfect to simply communicating well. Our main goal here isn't to speak English without any mistakes, is it? No, our goal is to talk in a way that people understand. Are you getting your message across clearly? Is the other person understanding what you want to say? If the answer is a clear yes, then great, you are doing well. Stop worrying about every small grammar point or perfect word choice, and instead, put all your energy into simply saying your thoughts and feelings. When you bravely change your focus from being perfect to connecting with people, the big pressure you put on yourself gets much less, and you'll find your words start to come out more easily. It's a bit like learning to ride a bicycle. You don't try to win a race the first time you get on, do you? No, you just try to stay up and move forward. Speaking English is very much like that. Just focus on moving forward with your message. Finally, within this way of thinking, it is very important to celebrate small wins. Learning a language is definitely a long journey, not a quick dash. It's a journey that happens day by day, and noticing and celebrating every small step forward, no matter how tiny, is key to staying motivated. Did you successfully order food in English easily? Did you understand a hard sentence in a movie without looking at words? Did you have a short, comfortable talk with a native speaker? These times, no matter how small they might seem, are important steps forward on your path to speaking well and feeling confident. Don't let them pass without notice. Celebrate them fully. This good feeling is like fuel for your journey. It builds speed and always makes you believe in your own ability to get better. Try keeping a small English wins journal. Write down every time you successfully use English in real life, or even when you just feel a little more confident than before. Look at it often. You'll love seeing your own progress happen. Now that your mindset is strong, let's look at the real, practical things that help you speak clearly and with confidence. These are like the building blocks of good communication. First and most important, you must focus on being clear, not on being complicated. When we're feeling nervous or unsure, we sometimes try to use big, fancy words or long, complex sentences to sound smarter. But when you're talking, this often has the opposite effect. For clear, truly confident speaking, keeping it simple is your best friend. Use plain, direct words. If you can say something simply, then that's what you should do. This way, people will understand you much more easily, and it also makes it easier for you because you don't have to think so hard. You can focus on what you really want to say. For example, instead of saying, I am currently engaged in the process of formulating a response to your inquiry, which sounds quite formal and a bit heavy, simply try, I'm thinking about how to answer your question. Both mean the same thing, but one is clearly easier to understand, more natural, and more human. Next, you absolutely must master basic ways to build sentences. Knowing the simple rules of how English sentences are put together gives you a strong, reliable guide for your thoughts. The person action thing way of building a sentence is your best friend here. Practice making simple, clear sentences first. Get really comfortable with sentences like I drink coffee or she reads books. Once you're truly comfortable and confident with these basic ideas, you can then slowly and naturally add more complex ways of building sentences. This step by step method builds confidence little by little and keeps you from feeling overwhelmed. A great way to practice this is to take a simple news story or even just a short part from a book. Read a few sentences and try to find the person, the action, and the thing. Then try to say those sentences again in your own words, using slightly different vocabulary if you want, but always keeping that basic sentence structure strong. This practice really helps you understand the main parts of a sentence. And as you build these sentences, you'll want to make them flow smoothly by using connecting words and phrases. Normal talking isn't just separate statements, it moves smoothly from one idea to the next. Connecting words and phrases are like the helpful bridges between your thoughts, guiding your listener easily through your ideas. Words like however, therefore, in addition, for example, on the other hand, and words that show order like firstly or secondly are very powerful. They help you put your ideas in order, make what you say sound more connected, and give your listener clear hints about what you're going to say next. This makes your message much clearer and immediately makes you sound more able to express yourself well. For instance, instead of just saying, I like coffee, I like tea, which sounds a bit choppy, you could say, I like coffee. However, I also enjoy tea, creating a smoother link. Or when giving reasons, I believe this is a good idea. Firstly, it's cheap. Secondly, it's easy to do. See how those connecting words really help the listener follow your thoughts? Beyond just single words and sentences, The rhythm, the flow, and the natural sound of your speech play a huge part in how confident and truly human you sound. It's like the music of the language. One of the most powerful things you can work on is how your voice goes up and down and which words you push harder on. English is what we call a stress timed language. This means that certain words and even parts of words are said with more force than others. This isn't random. It creates a natural rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. And importantly, it helps show exactly what you mean. For example, think about the small but important difference when you say, I didn't say he stole the money versus I didn't say he stole the money. The first one makes it clear that you weren't the one who said it, while the second one means he stole something else, not money. Pay close attention to how native speakers use their voice, how it rises and falls, and which words they stress to show important information. Getting better at this makes your speech sound much more active, much less like a robot and truly alive. A great way to practice this is to listen to short audio clips of native English speakers, perhaps from podcasts, interviews, or videos online. Try to copy how their voice goes up and down. Don't worry about sounding exactly like them. Just focus on trying to match the general rise and fall, the music of their voice. And when we talk about natural flow, we need to talk about using pauses and little filler sounds, but smartly, of course. Normal human talk isn't just one long stream of words, is it? We naturally pause to think, to breathe, or to make an important point stand out. Smart pauses can make what you say more impactful and give your listener time to understand. Also, using a little bit of common English filler sounds like uh, or like can actually make your talk sound more real and human just because native speakers use them all the time. The key, like with many things, is finding a balance. Too many filler sounds can make you sound unsure, but no filler sounds at all can make you sound quite unnatural, almost like a robot. The trick is to give yourself a moment to think. Instead of rushing to fill every quiet moment, sometimes just a short silent pause is all you need. The answer is, quite simple actually. See how that pause gives importance to simple? Another key to that smooth, natural flow is connecting words, or what we call linking. Native English speakers very often join words together, especially when one word ends with a consonant sound and the very next word begins with a vowel sound. For example, the phrase take an apple very often sounds like tak an apple, or turn it off often sounds like turn it off. Practicing these linking sounds makes your speech incredibly smoother and much more natural, stops it from sounding choppy, and immediately makes you sound much more fluent. Try practicing some common phrases that naturally link pick it up, call me back, not at all. Focus on letting the sounds flow together easily, almost as if they were one long word. To truly sound confident and natural, to really let your personality show, you need to go beyond just memorized phrases and truly use the beautiful, tricky parts of human talk. One excellent way to do this is to learn and use common phrases and two-word verbs, always in the right situation, of course. These phrases and two-word verbs are a big part of everyday English. They are built into the language itself. While you definitely don't need to know thousands of them right away, learning even a few common ones, and, more importantly, understanding when and how to use them correctly can make your talk much more lively, colorful, and natural. The main point here isn't just remembering them, it's understanding when and how to use them well. For example, instead of the quite formal, it's raining heavily, you might hear a native speaker say, it's raining cats and dogs, which paints a much more vivid picture. Or instead of, I will examine the situation, try the more common and natural, I will look into the situation. Start by focusing on a few that you hear often in real English shows or talks, and then try to use them naturally in your own conversations. Next, and this is very important for real connection, allow yourself to show emotions and say what you think. Confident speakers don't just state plain facts, they beautifully show their feelings, their ideas, and their unique character. Don't be afraid to say, I think, or I feel, or in my opinion, or I'm really excited about. This is what adds that valuable human part to your talk and lets your own voice really come through. It makes the conversation much more interesting, much more real, and in the end, much more memorable. A fantastic exercise is to watch interviews or talk shows in English. Pay close attention to how people show they agree, disagree, are surprised, or are excited. Write down a few phrases they use and then try practicing them yourself, maybe in front of a mirror, really trying to feel the emotion. Also, to sound truly natural, especially in everyday and even somewhat formal spoken English, you should definitely use short forms of words. Forms like I'm, your, don't, and isn't are very common. Using them makes your speech sound much more natural and less formal, much closer to how native speakers really talk. While you would avoid them in very formal written papers for speaking, you should use them. Instead of, I am not sure, just say, I'm not sure. Instead of, they are going, easily say, they're going. It sounds so much smoother. And finally, to keep things interesting and smarter, try to use different words that mean the same thing. Saying the exact same words again and again can make your talk sound a bit dull, a bit uninteresting. As you learn new words, try to find other words that mean the same thing for words you use often. This effort adds richness and smartness to your language. A good dictionary of similar words can be a helpful tool, but even better is paying close attention to similar words used by native speakers in real situations. For example, instead of always saying good, which can be a bit plain, try great, excellent, fantastic, effective, or positive, depending completely on the small difference in meaning you want to show. Each one adds a slightly different feel. All the tips and advice in the world, no matter how good, won't help unless you carefully put them into steady, focused practice. This is where the real good things happen. First, and this might sound a little silly, but it's very helpful, speak out loud, even to yourself. Don't wait for the perfect chance to have a formal talk. Talk to yourself in English while you're doing chores around the house, while you're cooking dinner, or even when you're driving. Tell yourself about your day. Describe the things around you, what you're seeing, what you're thinking. This simple act builds very important muscle memory for your mouth and your brain, and it powerfully helps you think directly in English without having to translate words from your own language first. It's a very easy way to get truly comfortable with the sounds and rhythms of the language. Next, actively find chances to talk with others in English. This could mean finding language exchange apps like Hello Talk, Tandem, or Speaky, which connect you with native speakers who want to learn your language in return. You might also think about finding an online teacher for special one-on-one practice times. And as we've talked about, don't forget how powerful practicing by yourself is. Speaking out loud to yourself, copying others, and recording are very strong tools you can use anytime, anywhere. You can also look for English speaking groups or online discussions about your hobbies or interests. It's a great way to practice English in a way that truly excites you. A truly great method that I tell everyone about is copying and repeating. Here's how it works. Find a short audio clip, maybe a part from a podcast, a scene from a movie, or a piece of an interview, and listen to it carefully several times. Then try to speak along with the person talking, literally copying their voice, trying to match their sounds, how their voice goes up and down, and their rhythm as closely as you can. Think of it as an exercise for your English mouth muscles. Start with very short sentences and slowly, as you get more comfortable, make the phrases you're copying longer. And as you practice, make it a habit to record yourself and then listen to what you hear. I mentioned this before, but it's so important that I'll say it again. Recording yourself speaking helps you really notice your own speaking habits, things you might never see otherwise. Listen back not to be overly critical, but with a curious, thoughtful mind. Listen for parts where you could perhaps be clearer, where your flow could be better, or where your voice could sound just a bit more natural. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just try to find one or two specific things to work on each time. This way of checking yourself is a very powerful way to get better. Finally, truly put yourself in English media. Surround yourself with the language as much as you possibly can. Watch movies and TV shows without written words on the screen. Or if that's too hard at first, start with English words on the screen, listen to English podcasts, read English books and articles. The more you hear and see English being used naturally, truly, and in real situations, the more easily the language will come to you. This kind of regular exposure greatly helps your ability to speak actively. We all face difficulties and challenges on this journey, but seeing them is always the main first step to solving them. A very common worry is, what if I forget a word in the middle of a sentence? It happens to everyone, believe me. Don't panic. You have several great choices. You can describe the word you've forgotten. It's the thing you use to open bottles. Or you can simply use another word that means almost the same thing if you know one. You can also simply ask the person you're speaking with, "What's the word for?" And sometimes the best way is simply to pause and think. A short, confident silence is always much better than saying, over and over in a panic. Another common worry I hear is, my accent is too strong. Please remember this. Your accent is a part of who you are, and it is perfectly fine. The goal here isn't to get rid of your accent completely, but rather to make sure that it doesn't stop people from understanding you clearly. Focus on saying individual sounds clearly, on putting force on the right words, and on your voice going up and down naturally. People all around the world speak English with many different accents, and that's wonderful. Being clear is always the main thing, not getting rid of your accent. And lastly, many of you might be thinking, I don't have anyone to practice with. This is a very common problem, but there are so many ways to fix it now. Think about using online language exchange apps which connect you with native speakers who are eager to learn your language in return. You might also think about finding an online teacher for special one-on-one practice times. And as we've talked about, don't forget how powerful practicing by yourself is. Speaking out loud to yourself, copying others, and recording are very strong tools you can use anytime, anywhere. You can also look for English-speaking groups or online discussions about your hobbies or interests. It's a great way to practice English in a way that truly excites you. Speaking English with confidence is a goal that anyone can reach, and I truly believe that with all my heart. It's a rewarding journey that beautifully brings together having a good mindset, Learning smart ways, practicing regularly, and being open to learning and growing from every experience. Remember these guiding stars. Be clear in what you say. Make your speech flow naturally and truly let your human ways of speaking show. Don't try for something perfect that's hard to get. Instead, try for real connection and clear communication. Every single word you speak, every sentence you make, and every talk you have is actively building your confidence little by little. Believe in yourself, celebrate every step of your progress, and just keep speaking. The world is waiting excitedly to hear your unique voice. Thank you so much for joining me today on English in Advance. I'm Jennifer, and I truly can't wait to see your confidence soar. Until next time.